Okay, so in your book it says chapter 2, in case you're confused, but since we're going in order by notes, we're going to label this 4.1. So percent of a number, right? Of meaning multiply, we learned that earlier. There are 2 ways to find the percent of a number. 2 ways. I'm pretty confident you touched a little bit on this in 6th grade, but not a ton. So you're going to want to write this down to remind yourself. So to find the percent of a number, the first way is to write the percent as a fraction and then multiply. Write the percent as a fraction and then multiply. For example, 5% of 300. 5% of 300. So it says write the percent as a fraction. So 5%, remember percent means per 100. Per 100. So we could write that as 5 over 100. Or you could simplify that to 1 over 20, because 5 goes into 100 20 times. And then you multiply that times 300. So you can do your cross canceling. 20 goes into 300 15 times, so your answer is 15. So again, what you do is you write your percent, put that number over 100 and multiply. Some cross canceling. Now this is like a really good way to do this if you don't have a calculator handy, because a lot of you are good at simplifying now. You can figure out, you can get it down to a smaller number. The other method, which I think is even better, is the second method. For one, we always have calculators, especially those of us who have phones. We always have a calculator on us nowadays, right? So this is the easier way. You would write the percent as a decimal and then multiply. So the first way is write it as a fraction, multiply. The second way is write as a decimal, then multiply. Yes?
Why would you write it as a decimal?
You're going to see. So much faster. Okay? So write the percent as a decimal. Notice I underline decimal to remind you what we're doing. Still multiplying, but instead of fraction, we're using a decimal. So here's an example. 25% of 180. 25%. So remember, to make your percent to a decimal, you have to move the decimal left 2 places. To the left 2 places. So 25% would now be 0.25. Percent to decimal to the left 2 places. Now you could just plug that into your calculator, right? No fractions. 0.25 times 180. So even though you may have been only shown the fraction way, some of you learned the decimal way, I would say 99% of the time you're going to use the decimal, then multiply. Any questions so far? Yeah? Yeah. Raise your hand if you remember this stuff. Multiplying by either fractions or decimals. Raise your hand if you remember doing like a lot of percents in 6th grade. Now, who did a little bit?
We did nothing.
Okay. Who did nothing on percentages? Okay. So it's good we're going back and reviewing. All right. Now, every once in a while, you guys will get percents greater than 100. This is not difficult. It looks kind of scary, but it's not difficult. So if you get a percent greater than 100, this is what you do. Like, for example, say it's 150%. If you want to change that to a fraction, it's just 150 over 100. The 100 never changes. Okay? Or if you move the decimal 2 places to the left, so start at the 0, 2 places to the left, 1, 2, we have 1.5. And you don't have to write the 0. I just put it in to kind of clarify what we did. So 2 places to the left, right? 1, 2. So 150% is 1.5. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Easy stuff? Okay, so you still do the same method here, right? You still multiply after you get that. But it's either over 100 if you're doing fractions, or just move it 2 places to the left. Okay? Alright, so we're going to do practice on 107. So go to 107. We're going to just look at 1 through 10. So it says independent practice 107.